Hi, I'm Jean Louise from Juniper Flowers, and I'm here with my son Cash, and we decided we would show you how to make a spring floral, and you probably could gather some items from your yard. We wanted to make it easy enough for you to do at home and hopefully have something nice for your table and just bring a little cheer into the home while we are spending a lot of time at home lately. And so I am going to design something that might be more of a tutorial for you to work off of, and Cash is going to listen in, but he's going to design his own floral just with a little bit of guidance, but I'm not necessarily going to show him exactly what to do. I think that's the fun thing about designing with your children or a friend. You can kind of bounce ideas off each other or look at what the other person's doing to get some pointers, but really it's all about immersing yourself in the experience and just having fun with it. And so I have, for myself, I've chosen, one of my favorite color palettes is blush, pale pink, a little bit of creamy white, and greenery. And Cash has...
my mom chose me some darker colors because I like some darker colors, and then there's some white, red flowers too.
Okay, great. And the fun thing about Cash, he definitely has some things here that you might find in your yard now because they are some spring flowers. We do have a lot of bulb flowers here. We'll go through the names of them as we start to design. Cash has what we call the simple kind of utility vase. I would say, I don't know what percentage of people might have this type of vase at home, but it's pretty standard and inexpensive, and I bet if you look through your cabinets you've got something like it. A shorter version of this would be a mason jar, and you could always use something like that. I have a little bit more of a unique pottery vase, but I have a feeling that somewhere along the lines you've picked up something like this. Maybe it's a milk glass jar or something you found at a secondhand store. And so we will start. The first thing I do after choosing my flowers, I kind of separate them on the table. So I want to put all the like flowers with the like flowers. So let's do that, Cash. And then I will kind of guide you through what you should put into your vessel first. So I have gathered some hypericum, some green ball dianthus. I have a little bit of hyacinth and veronica. And so Cash has some freesia, a couple of different colors of anemones. I think you might have some more anemones buried in there, so you want to put them all in the same area. Those are tulips.
Tulip.
I've got some ranunculus. I believe we both have some roses.
Yeah.
I've got
Pink
some
roses.
fantastic two-tone calla lilies here. I also have some tulips. Another rose. Ranunculus. And hellebores. Calla down. Some more hellebores and butterfly ranunculus. So pretty cool. Okay, and so Cash has also flower down ranunculus. Put that in that area.
Yep.
He has some scabiosa.
Yeah.
This is called muscari. It's also called grape hyacinth, and that is has a really pretty smell. Some of these are
This one
fragrant.
is too.
That is called Sweet William.
Sweet William.
Yeah. Okay.
So what should we start with?
Okay, so we should start. I am going to start. I like to build a base with just a little bit of greenery, a few pieces of greens. So I think if we each do maybe one or two of these, you have a smaller necked vase, so I would not go heavy on greenery just yet. You can always add a little greenery as accents. at the end. And then the fun thing too, if you are doing this with your kids and you want to do it in the kitchen, everybody loves being able to pull off the greenery or anything that they don't use and just drop it on the floor. Just remember, you know, you have to sweep it up, make the kids sweep it up after. But it is kind of fun to have that freedom of just designing and then throwing it on the floor. You're an artist, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I would like my pieces of greenery to extend from either side. So I will measure where I want the top to come out and then cut at the other side of the vase. I basically put things in and have it meet the bottom of the vessel directly across from it. And I usually do them at different sizes. So I'll do one that's a little taller, one in the front that maybe is a little shorter, and then for my third, I'm gonna extend it out the back. Cut that down a little bit. Again, you know, I always stress this in our workshops that cutting off just a little bit of length at a time is best, because you can't add the length, you can always cut it down. Right, Cash?
Yeah. I think we've had some experience with cutting it too short.
Yeah. This is not your first time designing with me. I believe Cash started, I feel like you made your first arrangement when you were like 3 or 4 years old. I know you don't remember, but I definitely remember that. So I am putting in a few extra little pieces of greenery a little bit lower, and they will help secure some of my stems. And then I'm gonna go with a larger stemmed flower. Usually we will start with your focal flowers, which for this, I'm gonna use the hellebores, the roses, and my hyacinth. Those are gonna be my focal points. And they do have thicker stems, so I always put stems in that are thick first, because as you kind of wind your way around your design, you know, it gets smaller and smaller in there, and it gets harder to put in fatter stems. And if you notice, we're on a Lazy Susan or the little turntable, and that is a great way to always see your work from every angle. And we definitely like to do that when we're designing at the shop. And you can also use design in front of a mirror as well, so that you can see what's happening on all sides as you rotate it. I do suggest spinning, if you have it on a turntable, spinning it around and designing from all sides and not just one side, because then you will notice that you might have like a flat back if you don't turn your container. And you definitely don't want a flat back unless you know that your floral is going in a corner and you don't need to waste flowers by putting anything in the back. Do you have any questions, Cash? Or
Right now.
okay. So I have, I've actually used up all the hellebores. I don't always do that, but I just kept going with what I had. And so I'm gonna go ahead and do another fatter flower here. This is very, I like to call it the chunky flowers. I'm gonna put these 2 hyacinth in next. And I do like to cluster certain flowers together. Sometimes I'll put like a trio of roses together, or 2 or 3 items of another type of flower near each other. It can create a really pretty simplistic arrangement by grouping things together. I am going to go ahead and use these other chunky dianthus. Again, I'm going to measure, and if I look at where I want the tops of the flowers to be in line with my vase, and then I just clip at the bottom of my vase. I'm gonna go ahead and add my roses, and we do like to take off any extra leaves, things that you won't see. For roses, if there's a damaged petal on the outside, you can take it off. There's a tiny bit of damage on this, but I'm not going to take it off because it does, taking off outer petals does tell the flower to open, and if you tell it to open, then it does start its process of dying. And we like to let everything open on its own and give it have its own lifespan without changing that necessarily. So I'm going to put a rose right in the front. 2 of those there. I'm going to spin it around. I'm going to do another rose here. I'm going to add my hypericum berry. Kind of fill in some holes here. I just cut 2 at a time because it's I'm going to put them sort of placed in areas near each other, and I do know that. Did I give you too many flowers?
I feel like I'm done.
You feel like you're done?
I just tried to put more flowers in and it made it look bad.
Yeah. So maybe you just, so basically you either needed a bigger vase or for me to not choose you so many flowers. Do you want to keep going and do something in another vase?
I'm going to try and figure out what I can do to this.
Okay.
Some smaller flowers.
It is a good idea. Cash has been stepping back and looking at his arrangement a lot, which is always good to do. Definitely helps, the first arrangement you ever make isn't, maybe it'll be a masterpiece, but really, I don't think it's about making the perfect floral. I do feel like it is about the creative process and kind of getting into a little bit of a zone that maybe takes you away from other things that were on your mind.
I like that. So good.
Thank you. Do you want to get another vase? They are close by. You could grab.
Yours.
Okay. And I'm taking off these outer leaves of the tulips. You always want to do that. It's kind of a funny thing. If you don't, you can, when you're putting another tulip inside, you could accidentally stick it right into the leaf, and then you can't get it through, and then you think it's in the water, and it's not really in the water. It's actually stuck in the cuff of a little leaf, so I always take those off. Did you have a question?
So is yours supposed to be like a floral that you can look at from every direction? Or a floral that has a front, like mine has a front, this is the front?
Mm-hmm. I did want to do a floral that I could look at from every direction. In my mind, I was thinking I could put this on the kitchen table, and everybody who sits around the table could look at it and enjoy it from every angle.
Mine would be more for like the edge of a railing on a porch
Yeah.
or something.
Yeah. Or like a windowsill.
Yeah.
Like a countertop.
Like the corner of a counter now.
Okay.
This is definitely the back. And this is the front.
Well, I mean, I don't know. Honestly, I can see that being the front.
I can't.
You can't.
Because then you can't see the back flowers because they're shorter.
Okay. I'm gonna go ahead and put in my big palettes. They're really fun, and these are a great item. You might wonder why I didn't put these in first, because they are a larger flower, and you should put the fat, chunky flowers in first. But these are definitely a showstopper flower, and so I want to make sure I showcase them properly. And so I wanted to wait and make sure I didn't damage them, and make sure I could get them exactly where I wanted them to be. The fun thing about calla lilies is they are malleable, so you just have to warm up the stem in your hands, and you can bend it, you can straighten it out, you can bend it any other way. You just have to be careful to not snap the whole thing off.
So cool.
So you really, if you wanted this to come all the way out like that, you can. I think that's a little bit much for what I'm doing right now. I do like to tend I tend to have things go in the same direction.
Like a
Like a bad
bad hairdo.
hairdo.
Well, I mean, I don't like a hairdo that just goes in one direction.
Yeah, you like it
I like
all
crazy.
crazy hair.
Just learning from you right now.
So if you were gonna make another floral, what would you, which flowers would you choose to go together? You know, you could make a little hand-tied bouquet with the rest of your things, so you hold them in your
Can I
hand.
go
And
grab a hand? No, no, no.
you basically hand-tied bouquet is something that you hold in your hand and add all the flowers around it, and then
I know that.
you cut it at the bottom. And
But then hand tie things.
oh, you mean the raffia?
Yeah.
Sure. So I'm gonna finish up with kind of readjusting where I have these calla lilies. It's I'm a little out of my comfort zone. Not designing in front of a mirror, it's hard for me to see exactly what I'm doing, but I'm gonna make it happen. Position one of these.
Can I make this one warm?
Ooh, so that's what happens if you, you probably needed to have just that single stem in your hand. And anemones do snap if you're not careful.
So don't kill it like I just did.
So don't kill it. Yeah, or leave it up here. We could always do something with that tiny little bloom.
I guess.
Okay.
But I have another. Okay. Can it be malleable?
Okay. So malleable. Is it malleable? It is.
It is?
Let me see. These would take a little bit, and you really have to, basically you have to guide it. These are tough, especially the stem feels really
No, that's
straight.
not what I want you to do. I want it to be straight.
Oh, I was trying to put this, look at that though, that would be fun. Putting that in there.
I don't want it in there.
Oh, okay.
I'm making it for a hand tie.
Oh, okay. All right, so I'm gonna put a few more items in this and see where we are, see what we need to add. For Cash's, I think that we don't really need to add anything else.
Good, because I don't think I can add anything else without making it look bad. So
Well, I don't think it looks bad at all.
I think it's kind of good right now. So
Great. Okay, so I'm just filling in little holes that I have with the bits and pieces that I have left. And that's umbrella fern. We can do something with that in just a minute. I got two pieces, so I could maybe use one, and you could use one. Or yeah, that is kind of what I was thinking that you would do. So I've got 3 pieces of Veronica here that I am going to just, I'm going to do 2 kind of close to each other, and then 1 on the other side.
I don't know if I like this hand tie, but could look kind of cool.
You're doing a good job. And then my last pieces that I'm putting in are the ranunculus. These are like the little dancey, airy items that need a little bit of space. Again, they're pretty great items, and I don't want to ruin them, so they are why I've saved it until the last item that I put in. Again, I'm going to put a couple closer to each other, and I'm making sure that all my stems are going down to the bottom of the vessel. That way I know everyone will be drinking water, even if the water evaporates. You probably want to check every couple days to make sure your vase has water in it.
I did it.
You did it.
Kind of.
I can't wait to see it. You've even tied it. See, that's perfect. Isn't that great?
I mean, not really. I kind of just threw some flowers in and.
Well, that is kind of an art form in itself, making throwing something together and making it look like you didn't really throw it together. It's always kind of fun. So here I'm trying to decide if I want my fern to be here in the front, or over here on the side, or over here. And basically, you know, you could pretty much put it anywhere. It's such a cool item. We just want to, I'm going to cut off a couple of its little side pieces, laterals, because I wanted to be able to see all the flowers. It was hiding this set of flowers here. So we are both done. I don't feel like either of us need to have any more greenery added. I usually just give it a spin to see if there's any big holes. Or if there's a place where it feels like there's a flat top. This kind of feels like it shoots, like there's like a slanted roof right there. I'm gonna add this one piece of greenery, so it just feels a little bit more uniform. And that is it. So this is what I've got. This is what Cash has made. And then with this, I'm gonna grab this, okay?
Oh no.
I won't ruin it. Well, basically what you do when you've made it hand tied like this,
You put it.
you can
Put it in.
put it right into another vase that way.
As long as the vase has water.
Right.
Forget that.
And then, and if it was shorter, you could cut, you know, hold on to it like that and cut lower, and then put it in an even shorter vase. Well, I hope that you had fun designing your floral, and we will hopefully see you again on the Juniper Flowers website, YouTube video channel. And again, happy designing, and have a good
Have a good
time.
day. Have a good day. Have a good time.
And enjoy your flowers.
And stay safe. Wash your hands.